In order for this to be successful, you likely need to have a cult-like following for your product already. Because if you just post a few videos announcing your crowdfunding campaign and nobody sends you a single dollar, it's going to be a big waste of time. Next up is one that I just learned about this week, angel syndicates. Angel syndicates are actually pretty cool because it's not as rigid as a VC or a seed fund, but it is significantly more formal than just going and getting a bunch of individual angels that don't know each other. These people have more experience, they might even have a thesis of the kinds of things that they invest in or where they have expertise and can actually help. And if you get one of them excited, it's a larger pool of money than raising from an individual person, obviously. Next up is that on steroids, family offices. Family offices are gold, but because they're so desirable, it makes them very hard to find. If you're not familiar, this is basically a very rich family that makes investments. These guys will have pools of money that equals, an angel syndicate or even sometimes VCs, and it's only one or two people that you have to win over. How these guys invest is really a case-by-case basis, but I would say to seed round, it is pretty rare that you're going to get a family office involved. It really depends on their risk tolerance if they would even consider a seed round, because think about it, it's their family's money, and seed stage investing is very risky. But what's cool about it is if you meet the right people here and they believe in your product, they could just write you a $4 million check and your seed round's over. The last one then is seed funds and tier 2 VCs. This is a very case-by-case basis on how interesting it is. I would say this is going to require the most due diligence too, because likely you are going to be on their term sheet because they've done this before. They likely have lawyers and accountants. But with that, these guys know the game. There's potential here for very great relationships, right? Smaller funds, it's more intimate and they really take your company along for the ride. However, you also run the risk of a less established VC really trying to take advantage of young founders. And then obviously there's the tier 1 VCs. There are obvious pros here. These guys have done it a million times. They know exactly what they're doing and you are along for the ride. If any of these guys writes you a check and they put their stamp of approval on your brand, your round is full, you got instant credibility, and you get to walk around like your shit doesn't stink anymore. However, if you're gonna take money from these guys, you have to understand how they work. This is gonna be a massive oversimplification, but just as a general idea of how these guys think about investing, if they write 10 checks, they're going to expect that 7 of those companies fail. One's gonna return basically a single, which is the money back. One's gonna hit a double, they might 2x the money that was invested, and then they expect 1 to 10x, minimum. So in general, 70% of the checks they write, they think are going to fail completely, 20% they think are going to still fail, but do something, and 10% are gonna be the ones that pay everybody's bills. In order to achieve that, they're expecting you to deploy your money very quickly. You are not going to be able to deploy capital at a rate that makes you comfortable. So this has been a 5-minute overview of everything I've learned so far about seed stage investing, but I'm curious what other people have done in the past, what other people like out of these options, and if there's anything that I missed.